Right, let's talk advertising now, and Publicis Machines Executive Creative Director Gareth Mcpherson is with us, and he's going to tell us a little bit about the insight into a television commercial for the financial services group PSG that certainly has the customers of the brand and the industry by and large talking. A very warm welcome to you, Gareth.
Thanks for having me.
Before we talk about the key messages and the insights and all of that sort of thing, outline the story for us, because it's one of those big, old-fashioned, epic kind of stories that we don't see anymore.
It's a great story, and basically it's the story of Sir Stirling Moss. He's the racing car driver, and he won it with his co-pilot Dennis Jenkinson. Really, what the unusual nature of the story isn't exactly about the win. It's more the backstory behind it,
and it's the strategy that they employed against all odds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think basically how it worked was, you know, all the other racing drivers were pretty much focused on their vehicles themselves. You know, they were fine-tuning it, working out innovative ways of streamlining cars. But these guys took a step back and realized it's not just about your racing car, it's actually how well you know the course and actually where you're going. And they pioneered this innovation, which they called the Rolodex, the roller box. And basically they plotted out the whole course, the 1,000 miles, literally on 100 yards of paper. And that became the first form of navigation, actually. And Dennis navigated Stirling, and they won the race in a record time.
That is Sir Stirling Moss to you, my friend. I think he's still alive as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he is. Yeah. He is.
Just the link then between that concept and financial services. How did you find that bridge?
We went through a lot of stories, to be dead honest, and we wanted to find, for me it's not about just racing. I think let's just put that to one side. It's more around the principles of what they did. And for me, the strategy that went into and what they employed. So about having vision, about taking a step back, looking at all your different options that you have on hand. Pretty much what a financial services planner would actually go through. And for us, there were lovely analogies that started to form. One's around innovation, the innovative approach they took to winning the race. Kind of how you would sum up if you were sitting with someone's worth and deciding where you're actually going to invest all this money. So for us, we decided that the story behind the racing is actually what really is about, which makes the commercial
What is the
fantastic.
key message, though, that you're trying to impart in a sea of information in the financial services sector that customers are often engulfed with?
I think what we wanted to do was really nail down this new positioning we gave them, and that's around this bigger picture thinking. And for me, that's exactly what Stirling and Dennis did. And I think if you look at the unique business of PSG, the fact that they go into wealth, asset management, and insure, they can actually look at all their customers, and anyone who has worth or money as a whole, they can decide exactly where to put that. And for me, they are a unique business themselves, hence why we went for a story that was as unique as this.
And the use of analogy as an advertising tool it's risky sometimes. People might not always get it.
Yes, look, it's used a lot. I think for me, in coming up with online content or television commercials, storytelling is storytelling.
Sure.
And I think if you're using it as a literal approach or an analogy, as long as you're making your point and you're getting it across, and I think this commercial does that, I think you've done that job successfully, and it seems to be working, which is good.
Just 2 or 3 quick things. Was it a tricky ad to make? Was it difficult?
100%.
A lot of permission had to be sought,
100%.
I understand.
So it was a year and a half in the making. And like you said, he was alive.
Yes.
And that brings its own complexities because you
don't
have to
mess with my brand.
Exactly. Who's playing me? That's the biggest question. That's the first question that gets asked. So he had to approve the artist that actually, or the actor that played him. And there was a lot of levels of approvals, also from the race organisers themselves, and also Dennis Jenkinson isn't alive anymore, but he's got an estate that is run by an individual, and we had to get that approval. So a lot of sort of processes went into place. We had to deal with agents to make it actually happen.
And guys, just finally, you need a different approach these days, I'm assuming, to advertising in the financial services sector, given the clutter factor that exists. If you're not rising above, you're just gonna bypass people.
Yeah.
How do you get that right these days?
I mean, it's not just financial services. I think it's just advertising in general. I think there's so much clutter out there. You need to break through the barriers of everything. I think for me in this case, the story is unique, but I think the way we told it was unique. The ad actually goes backwards. We've got an interesting voiceover that's put over it. It's rhyming couplets up front. So I think that in a blast of television commercials, when you're sitting in front of your television set, I think you will take notice of this. It is an unusual piece of work.
Far be it from me to say, but it's one of the better television commercials that I've seen
Great.
in 2016. Gareth Mcpherson from the advertising agency Publicis Machine. He is the Executive Creative Director.